Across the mythology of many cultures, there are a few themes that are often repeated. These themes are important to examine, as they give insight into the collective consciousness shared by humanity. The labyrinth is one of those themes. Historically, the purpose of the labyrinth in mythology has varied across cultures, making it a fascinating subject to study. How the labyrinth is utilized gives insight into the values and viewpoints of the cultures telling the stories. The labyrinth is known as a mentally and physically challenging path created to test those who choose to enter it. By exploring the traditional story of origin and several different hero myths in this wiki, we will examine the depths of culture and psychology behind the legendary path. These wiki pages will address the psychological significance behind the tangible and intangible qualities of the labyrinth. Firstly, we will summarize the myths of Daedalus' labyrinth, the labyrinth of Chartres Cathedral, and the Man of the Way in the Maze, to better understand how the labyrinth is utilized in mythology around the world. We will also examine the main symbols in the labyrinth, such as the entrance and what is contained within, beyond a simple path. Finally, we will examine what all of this means and how the labyrinth functions as a metaphor. While you are reading, we ask you to consider a few guiding questions in order to help you better engage with the material. Our first question is, can you think of any examples of the labyrinth in modern media or your own life experiences? Our second question is, why do you think that the labyrinth motif is so common across the globe and across cultures and religions? Our third question is, do you think that the different labyrinths discussed in the wiki serve different purposes to fit their respective cultures? Or do you think that they have a wider, more overarching theme? Finally, we wonder if you agree with the psychological reasoning put forward for the existence of the labyrinth. Why or why not? As you go through all of this information, you will see that the labyrinth is so much more than a physical structure. It goes deep into psychological theories, stretched to many theories of personal and cultural labyrinths. With summaries of some of the most popular myths surrounding the labyrinth, physical evidence and realistic theories are applied to its history. Balanced metaphors are what speak the labyrinths into existence, and they are important to examine. We will also look at the multiple dimensions of the labyrinth in physical worlds. And yes, there is more than one dimension to a labyrinth, which is why it has survived as a cultural symbol for so long. Cultures are impacted every day by theories related to the labyrinth as we tell stories about them and continue the legacy. We hope that the information present in our wiki will bring you thoughtful engagement to gain a deeper understanding of this topic.